Bonjour, Benesi Indigenous, Dinaway Magi Nak Kinyodo Temewan. My name is Joshua, JD. Um, I am very thankful and appreciative of your time to share these things. I'm going to be talking about the protocols that I received concerning my work as the Rainbow Warrior for the Land of Peace. They have asked me, many elders. One just called me the other day and said, you need to share this to people so they know who you are and the work that you have been called to do. Many years ago, a friend of mine, Harvey Whitehawk, said you need to visit John Stevens, an elderly elder, a Mashome, and talk to him, because he was an elder that gave names and made people pipe carriers and was the traditional man to go to. So I traveled from British Columbia to Saskatchewan, Manitoba border, up in Swan River area, and Harvey brought me to him from his reserve in Cody Reserve close to Camp Sack, Saskatchewan, Yorkton area, and we traveled all the way up north with tobacco and a gift, where it was at the time a spring solstice. There was only 4 times a year that people were really permitted to visit him to receive certain things. And when I went, I brought my tobacco with me. At the time I had nothing for protocols concerning anything in my life outside the calling that was in my heart. This happened approximately 25 years ago, I guess, in the mid-90s, early 90s, something like that. So I went and I visited John Stevens, and when I came in, he said that when I sat down, there were about 20 other people waiting that brought their tobacco and gifts to see him. So I waited for a little bit, and when I sat before him, he said that when I entered, and again he spoke in Soto Cree language, I think, and it was interpreted through Harvey Whitehawk and others so that I could understand an English version of what he was sharing. He said when I entered, he saw over me 7 colors of the rainbow, and that he saw many thousands of people coming into my territory. He said he doesn't do this very often, and if ever. He says he usually gives 2 or 3 colors to people, but when he saw me, he said that he knew to give me 7 colors, and the colors of the rainbow. He told me that I needed to hand make a tunic, which I did, and to put these ribbons, these 7 colors, on my tunic. So I did. This is my tunic that was made, and it has the 7 colors representing the colors of the rainbow. When I went there, he gave me these colors, and then he said to come back next time. I knew that I would have to come all the way back to Saskatchewan, Manitoba at the next equinox or solstice, and it sort of upset me a bit, but just as I got up to go and thanked him, he said, in 3 days, come back in 3 days. But he says, bring a pipe with you. So I went back to Camp Sack. There was no real thrift stores, no real places to find a pipe. And I was really a bit freaked out about it, because I asked everybody that I knew that lived there. I went to stores, I went to an old thrift shop, but I could not find a pipe. I found a craft shop, and let me show you what I did. I went to this this little craft store, and I found the top of a tulip, which you can see here, a little tulip top that was part of and a stem thing that I fashioned, and I drilled with a drill to get by hand, putting something together so I could have something that looks and resembled a little bit like a pipe, because he told me to bring a pipe, just a regular pipe. And I came back in 3 days and had my tobacco and a gift, and he looked at my pipe and he laughed and laughed. But he said, that's very interesting. He had his own pipe when he was doing a ceremony, because he told me that he wanted me to, this ceremony was to make me a pipe carrier. But he said, because you made this pipe and fashioned it with your own hands, that you're also called to be a pipe maker, to use pipe stone, and to fashion pipes and make people pipe carriers, and also personal pipe carriers. So in that moment when he did the ceremony, he said that those particulars he found very important, because he made me a pipe carrier, at the same time made me a pipe maker, and one to initiate others to become pipe carriers. And he said, in your territory, for your people. So I found that very interesting, and it was a wonderful gift. And then he said, come back next time. And when I got up to go, he said, in 3 days. So I went back to Camp Sac and with Harvey, and then we came back in 3 days. And when I sat down, he said that I rarely give out, when I give a name to somebody, I usually give a name like, the eye of the eagle, or something related to the wind of the thunderbird. But he felt that, in his words, he said that you connect directly to the Creator. And in the time that you are called to be, when you are active in 100% in your work, I'm going to call you Thunderbird. So he gave me a singular name, Thunderbird, which connects directly to the Creator. And he said you will get instructions directly from creation, Mother Earth, the Father Sky, to do your work. I thanked him for this. And then after that ceremony, he told me that let no man think that I am not part of the Indigenous community, that he said some words in his language which I did not understand, and he said, shake the hands of your brothers and sisters. And there must have been several people that came to see him, and I shook their hands and I hugged them, and he said that all the people, all the Indigenous people, and all the people that will be coming through your territory will be your brothers and sisters. I was very thankful, and I left there, and I decided at that time, because he was talking about pipes and it was a new thing for me, on the way home, I went through Pipestone, Minnesota, and it happened to be a Sunday when I went into Pipestone, Minnesota, to where they have the pipe quarries. And I met a man named Eric Erickson, who is one of the council on the board there at the time, and he was working his quarry. And it was very strange because I knew through prophetic utterances and people sharing with me that your work will be as the Rainbow Warrior. It was interesting that when I saw John Stevens, I never mentioned anything. And a part of the protocols of receiving my calling would come from these things. And he told me that I will be receiving people in the land of peace. And when I went to the quarry and saw Eric Erickson, there was a whole bunch of rocks that he had cut out and laid to the side, and he says, "Who are you?" And I said, "My name." And he said, "Yeah, but who are you?" I said, I uttered that I'm the Rainbow Warrior. And he says, "I've been working all morning gathering stones for you in particular, that I knew you were coming." And he had quarried stones to make pipes out of. He said, "Most people like the pure red, but I know with your people you have different colors in the stone that I quarried for you, that they will be prayer pipes, that you will initiate personal pipes and also pipe carriers when the time comes." It was a real emotional moment because he was there preparing for me. If I had not had that, if I didn't follow the pole, we would have missed each other, and the miracle of that day would never have happened. So following the pole and following your heart, it can be a super important thing. So he gifted me with a bunch of rock, pipestone that I brought with me home. And to this day, I've made personal pipes and a couple of pipe carriers that were following the red road, as it were. I was asked in my tunic by John Stevens to embroider or to draw what I saw as the Thunderbird, that I would be a part of that destiny. And I drew what I saw in my mind's eye, which is the Thunderbird with lightning coming from its eyes, and that its wings spanned out, and there is no body. Also the claws are holding a thin red line, which is following, like a lightning bolt in a sense, the red road. And that it's not really about the red road, but the call of natural law within our hearts to follow that, and to make that my journey. So I have made my own pipe. I have a here in my bundle, and I'll share that with you. I have and it's interesting about my bundle. I was in Edmonton for a while, and something happened, and I was told to. I don't to this day know really why, but I had a full bundle with a community pipe and my personal pipe. This is my personal pipe. Usually I don't put them together unless I'm ready to smoke it. So this I made from the pipestone that I was given, which goes in here for my personal pipe. And then I have a community pipe that when I do ceremonies with a community, this stone here, it took many years to find it, but it's a blood red stone that I found in British Columbia in the Rock Creek area. Actually, I looked and looked and looked. I could never find any stone, and then it called out to me. It said, "Stop, stop! I'm here, I'm here!" And literally, I found this big, heavy-duty rock that I've made into the community pipe that I can share with others in a ceremony or pole raising or an agreement or something that works within the community. Also given to me was an eagle feather that I use for my smudge and for ceremony. And I have and the reason why I'm showing this to you is because where did I have an abalone shell that I put the sacred herbs of sage and sweetgrass and tobacco and cedar and for all kinds of either clearings or blessing others and allowing our prayers to be recognized as the ashes burn and we offer ourselves up to the Creator. The reason why I'm showing you all these things is I had my full bundle in Alberta and Edmonton that I brought with me, and something weird happened. I was sitting in the apartment and it was like all I could see in the second floor was like a field full of hay, wheat, and there was a wolf running from far away, bounding towards the window I was in. There was a woman sitting on the couch reading or doing something, and this wolf was running towards me and jumped through the window into my body. And this woman that was sitting beside me screamed and said, "Oh my God, did you just see what happened?" And I just played a little stupid, and I said, "What did you see?" And she said, "A wolf just jumped through the window and went inside your body." So there was verification there. I didn't know she was sensitive to things like that, but what came to me right away was get rid of your bundle. And I'm thinking, well, it took so long to put it together, to make it, to allow it to be tenderly part of my work and my life. And at the same time, I felt I was supposed to not only do that, but get rid of everything that I owned and that I really possessed. When I was there, I had nice clothes. I had a sweater given to me by somebody from Nepal, but I obeyed. I got rid of my pipe. I had a abalone shell like this for my smudge that I was so proud of, that I used for my work, and I gave everything away. It was hard because part of me thought, "Oh, Creator, maybe there was, it could have been my vanity or something that I had to relinquish my rights to these things." At the time, I didn't have my tunic made with my colors, but I had my bundle, and I gave everything away, the feathers, the work, the stuff that I had. And when I did so, and I gave away lots of my clothes and things to other people as a giveaway, I had nothing. And I really reflected upon, why now? Why, am I supposed to do this? I think the Creator was sharing that I could lose everything, but through miraculous ways, through the manifestation of truth, things started to happen. A few days later, it's really weird. A lady came to me and said, I, I, um, I don't have any use for this, but I'd like to give you, and this is the one here, I'd like to give you an abalone shell, and it had never been used, and it came in with a pouch, and I made this thing because sometimes when you're doing smudging a lot of people, it can get really hot. So she gave me this abalone shell, and people would, a few weeks later, gave me a whole bunch of sweetgrass because I gave mine away. People gave me, pouches of tobacco, and gave me everything that I needed to start a new bundle. It's like from the ashes of letting go, all the things that I gave away were returned to me, and only within a few weeks. It was very, very, very fast. I say these things because much has happened in my life. I went to the World Council Fire after I received my name and my colors, and being a pipe carrier and a pipe maker. And I met Roland Petoskey. The county is named after his grandfather, great Chief Petoskey. Petoskey County in Levering, Michigan. It's part of the World Council Fire. When I went there, he was very excited to see me because we had a wonderful, loving connection. I met many of his people there. There were two twins, older twins, that just kept laughing at me. And in a funny way, they first said to me, "Oh, nice to meet you. I'm sorry that your boat got sunk. Your boat got sunk." And they're laughing away, and I had no clue what they were talking about. And later on, they have the World Council Fire in the third week of August, and they have this wonderful arbor that they put a fire in the middle and honor the Creator. And these elderly elders said that we're just very honored to have you because we've always known that the Rainbow Warrior would come and visit us. Their joke about that your boat sunk was that the Rainbow Warrior, the boat that some society had a boat called the Rainbow Warrior that sunk in France. I forgot the name of the organization, but there were many things that happened when I visited different areas where they would bring up the Rainbow Warrior, and they were glad to see me. They were very respectful, and Roland Petoskey in our conversations said that many people, he said, have come to him and asked in the World Council Fire that can we please have the Western Door Council Fire, they need permission from the World Council Fire to receive the authority to have a Western Door Council Fire. He said many people have come and asked, and I wasn't even aware of it outside of the conversation I had later with Harvey Whitehawk and others, is that they've asked many times if they could have a Western Door Council Fire. And Roland said to me, I want to make sure that when you go home, that when you receive your land, your sacred territory, that you have the Western Door Council Fire, that it is on your shoulders to do this. And I said, thank you very much. At the time I was not aware of its importance, but it stuck with me. I went to see a man named Danny Vihima. I had a very strong pull to bring a feather to him that was sort of like these feathers on my staff. It was similar to this one here, and I had the colors of the rainbow, which I have here, but also I had a string of beads with the colors of the rainbow that I brought to him. I felt it was important to connect with him because he was the last living prophet of the Hopi people, and usually the words that came from him went to Thomas Ben Yanka, and Thomas would share the seeings that Danny Vahima had. There's been many books written about him, but I knew I had a pull to go see him. When I saw him with a witness, he shared with me, he said, well, I offered him this feather for the children of the rainbow as the rainbow warrior, and he said, I asked him if he would put it in the cave with his feathers, and he said, what cave? And I said, the cave where you put your feathers, your prayer feathers that people give you. And he goes, how do you know about this cave? And I said, I just see it. And he said, what's in the middle of this cave? And I said, there's a box that has things in it. And I didn't know what it was. I just saw a kind of a box. And he said, I will put your feather in this cave with prayers for your people in the land of peace, that he said. And he started to share things with me through an interpreter. His niece, Susie Lamatska, shared with me his words because he spoke Hopi. Is it? His place was in a place called Haute Villa in Orbaya, and when I went to his ranch, these were some of the things that he shared. He said that when the electricity comes fully, which the elders did not want, to his village, that the power of prophecy, he said, would go to you, to your people, to the land of peace, into your territories. He said that it will disappear from here and will go to your people. He said to me that you need to build, when you receive your lands, you need to build a kiva with a portal in the middle of the kiva, so you can do ceremonies and hear from the Creator the new prophecies and the words that will come from the Creator. And I promised him I would do that, just like I promised Roland Petoskey that I would build an arbor in the land of peace. Many times it was always sort of called the land of peace. There, when I had nothing to say to them, they always spoke to me. It was important to me that with these protocols not to give them any leaning or hint of what I felt pulled to be there for, but they always spoke words that were very clear as to what my work was to do. So after that, when we left, I was stopped on the highway in the Kebab Plateau area of the Utah when we were heading back home, and a being showed itself, and its name was for some reason was Malchia, and it for me to understand that it knew that I was seeing it, it asked me to stop my van. It went outside, so I went outside, and it pointed at a specific rock to pick it up and to put it in my pouch. And I obeyed and listened, and it started to direct me down the road and through the forest. And in the forest it asked me to stop, which I did. And when I did, it instructed me to put a circle of tobacco approximately about 15-20 meters around. So I put my tobacco in a big circle, I put my bundle in the middle, and I waited. And all of a sudden there were people that weren't on the earth since the time of their death. I was told there are people that prayed for someone to come and to help their people, someone to come and to help, that their prayers of anguish would be answered. I didn't fully understand what was going on at the time, but Native children, men and women, were coming to the outside of this circle. They passed the van wondering what pulls it, what makes it go, kind of thing. My friend was sitting in the van a little freaked out, and I stood in the center, and they greeted me and were very thankful to meet the Rainbow Warrior, and that I was an answer to their prayer, that when nature starts to become depressed by the things happening to it via the water and the sky and the foods, and that the destruction of nature was happening concerning what's going on with the intrusion of dominion from groups that have nothing but disparity and division against nature and natural law, that a group of people would come to change the course of history. And those are the calling of the Children of the Rainbow, which I've been aware of for many years. And for almost 25 years, I've been manifesting and praying for a land of peace, which is between the Rocky Mountain Range and the Coastal Mountain Range, including the Sunshine Coast, a territory that I was told by people, elders such as Danny Vihima and Forrest Gibbs, the Choctaw elder, that people will come from all over the world and the Turtle Island to live in relative safety. That this area that rests between the foothills of the Rockies to the Coastal Mountain Range in the area of British Columbia and part of Washington, I think, and down and to the Cascades will be a place of sovereignty that the world will recognize. So that the Children of the Rainbow, when the call goes out, will come. I have, thanks to the people of the Chase Reserve, they made a water drum, that when the time comes to play that drum, that the calling will reflect to the skies and the mountains and to the waters, will vibrate to the hearts of those, and they will come. I always wondered, many prophets, many people spoke to me over the many years, and I thought when their words came to me, I always felt they were a little bit crazy, because the things that they said were very unusual, because there was really, 20 years ago, there wasn't something that was trying to gain power over everyone worldwide, especially through the intrusion of the whole pandemic and the stuff that's happening to the Indigenous nations, of people being shot up with something that's killing our people, and anybody who is connected with this are getting very sick. And I was told that when even they use the words, when shit hits the fan, this is when your work will become very important. And to go public with this, I know I've done a couple of videos about 10 years ago, which I'll put in the description as well, that talk about some of my work, but it's to make a public declaration, and that I have been given the protocols to, in our way, to share and to show that this is the work that I've been called to do. I was given once a 9-pointed star, and was asked to, as a test, to share what the prophecy of the 9-pointed star was, and I was given that answer. I was driving from a place in a desert area in British Columbia where it's very arid and very, very hot, and I was told to stop the vehicle and go to a hill. And I took my bundle and went up this hill, and as I was walking up on this hill, I saw and that's the thing, is it's sometimes so hard to distinguish between reality and non-reality, because I see things in the real where other people don't always see what I see. But I saw a bird that had approximately a 7-8 foot wingspan that came up from the other side of this huge hill, and it was massive, and it went around the top of this mountain, or this hill that I was climbing, and then it went down. It was about 500-600 feet towards the river that was there, and it took sort of my breath away, because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew to go and do ceremony on the top of this mountain. And I put some rocks together, and I put my tobacco down, put my bundle down, and again, this for the third time, this kind of huge kind of eagle, but I realized it looked like a depiction of a thunderbird. When it went around where I was standing, and then it went back down again, I couldn't find it or see it. After this third time, I sat by my bundle and I looked up, and I noticed 9 ravens that were coming from the valley and flying in a lineup, and they were going in a circle. And as they were circling around, I could count each one. There was 9 of them. There was. I asked the ravens. I said, "What does this mean?" And they didn't answer me right away. And one of the ravens broke off and went in a V of a mountain, and then disappeared. And when he disappeared, it was like there will be. It spoke to my spirit, and it said there will be 9 enlightened ones that are like the calling of those for other warriors of the rainbow. There's a difference in a sense between a rainbow warrior. We're all rainbow warriors, but those that lead and those that are the children of the rainbow that will come and learn and be given instruction and the calling to have be part of a friendship with families and community. What's happened with this last 2 years with the lockdowns and all these things happening is there is an energy that is coming as part of an awakening that's touching tens of thousands of people. There's a distraction as well that's pulling people away, but the truth of heart is stronger than the pull of untruth. Right now there's a lot of fear porn, there's all kinds of things going on because we don't know what's coming, but what is coming is very clear to me, and the work that I need to do is to call the children of the rainbow. We have a drum coming where we will be playing things, drumming this drum, and it will effectively start the call for people to come into the land of peace. When I was standing on that hill and I saw the 9 ravens and one disappearing, as it spoke to me, one of these ravens basically said that one of the enlightened ones of the 9 will fight a beast, and that beast, from them offering themselves to destroy this beast, it will allow a gateway, a portal for us to do our work. That's all I know. So that was the prophecy of the 9-pointed star, that there are 9 enlightened ones, 8 of which will work with humanity. Here's the problem that happened to me many years ago. I said, Creator, you've given me this charge to work as the Rainbow Warrior and draw people of like mind and heart to come to a land of peace and to live in relative safety. Why am I doing this? What's going on? And why? And can you give this please to somebody else? And basically what I got is why if you do not do this work, this opportunity will not happen. The prophecies in a lot of ways will go dead. And I said, well, there's so many others. And it was more like, how many people have dedicated themselves to something, working hard towards a true way of being, and denied all other things. I mean, I've had an opportunity to be a lucrative film producer. I could have followed certain ways, but I've always been pulled away to be called to the work that I'm doing now. The visiting places, going across our Kanatin and speaking to people and doing the work that I've been called to do, blessing communities and creating something that will be here for many generations to come, for our children and our children's children. I don't know always what to do and say, because when I met different elders like Forrest Gibb, he would come from Oklahoma, the Choctaw Territory, and he would give me very specific words of the things that are going to happen. I have listed a bunch of prophecies that came like 20 years ago, and I don't always know what to do with them. I don't know how to bring them about. I've been told that when the land of peace starts coming together, there'll be sovereign groups that'll be part of Swedexel Nation. Swedexel Nation just so I've connected myself with the people of the Salmon. I've connected myself with people who, through a true way of being, will have sovereign autonomous zones that will be able to survive. A lot of people say, well, how can this be? We've got a corporate government that will never let this happen. Well, I think that the Creator, I think that truth is a lot more powerful and a lot more beautiful and a lot more refreshing than having a number and being told how to live, what to eat, how to be locked down and how to suffer. I think a lot of people have had enough of it, and I think that the joy of revolution that has been foretold for hundreds of years is here. It's here. It's in our hearts. And it connects with something so much bigger. Do you think that they have power? No, they don't have power. We are the children of light. We are the people that will root ourselves and connect with Mother Earth, connect with goodness and kindness and fruits that are part of who we're meant to be. Getting away from, what I've realized is so many, and I've visited many groups that want to create indigenous or autonomous zones, and they've got a constitution and they've got all this stuff. Outside of the great wampum and the great law of peace, most of the indigenous nations, when they lived by natural law, it was, if you have an enemy, they come and attack you, you defend yourself. When you need to grow food, you grow food. When people would come through your territory, you would welcome them through. They would acknowledge who they were. You would barter and trade with them, and there was a communication between people and groups. Natural law is something that when you sit down and you pray before the Creator to bless this food, or to bless the growing of these children, or the growing of nature of your food source, or the animals that you are shepherding for food or for whatever reason, and blessing the water and making sure that it's clean, and allowing that our strength stops the intrusion of foreign powers that will want to destroy the air, want to destroy the waters, want to destroy the earth, want to destroy our way of being, so we can live in a community sense, that we can have small communities, and those communities connect with other communities without all the colonial systems that we were so set on living in. Having colonial thinking is one of the dangers that separates us from natural law. Really, it does. Having rules and all these things that we are so set upon, changing the political system, for instance, or trying to change the systems that be with civil servants that basically run the show, that are connected with multinational corporations, that are connected. I mean, there's all these connections happening that you get lost in. Well, there's something coming, and it's something very different, but something very simple, and that's living in a true way. And we're afforded that opportunity. If you read the prophecies, of the Cree prophecies, the Hopi prophecies concerning the children of the rainbow, they're here to reestablish something of the old and something of the new, that we merge together. The indigenous, the people who are indigenous by nature, to respect and regard the lands that before colonialism was here, but in harmony with all people. That's the wonderful thing about the children of the rainbow, that they can live in regard and respect to Mother Earth, and then she will recognize us. The earth recognizes me when I go and say hello to the trees. Their consciousness gets excited, and they recognize me. The water, when I touch it, its memory courses not through only my veins, but its veins, and moves in an amazing way. So I just want to share who I am and my work, and I'll do more videos so that you will gain a bit more, connection with what's coming and what we're going to do about it. So, Miigwech, thank you very much. Bye-bye.